This podcast is part of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts, visit red5network.com.
Do you like sci-fi, fantasy, action, adventure, and comic books? Then you've come to the right place for your weekly dose of anything and everything geek. So strap in and let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the Science Fictionary Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Science Fictionary Podcast. We're here to talk about the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
It's exciting stuff.
Yep. Glad to have it. Of course, it was a big weekend. We also had the Snyder cut, not the D. Snyder cut, but the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. And we'll be talking about that real soon. I think David's still got a little left to watch.
Oh, my camera's a little shaky. Sorry, I don't have my desk as usual.
David's in shaky cam mode tonight.
Yeah, it adds, it adds personality. It's like it's like J.J. Abrams' lens flares. You just gotta.
It adds personality and a disclaimer at the beginning that it may cause, emotion.
No, I haven't seen Snyder Cut yet because it's 4 hours long, and I just haven't.
Is. Yeah.
It's worth every minute.
We had to watch it in two parts. It just finding 4 consecutive hours is hard.
I'll probably have to.
Or you could just skip the first hour because nothing happens in the first hour. After that, it starts to pick up.
No. I'm going to watch the whole thing.
Watch the whole movie.
And I'm going to go into it with a completely open mind. I've heard very good things. I really have.
There's a lot of stuff in the first hour that's not in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I've heard good things from people who are like me, who hate Zack Snyder. So I'm excited about it. But
no, I'm looking forward to talking about it.
I'm not the opinion, and I'm not the opinion to take if you're looking for, because I take a lot of flack for this. I even like Sucker Punch, so I'm a Zack Snyder fanboy, so I get a little biased with it. But I try not to be biased, but a lot of people think I am because I do. Anyway.
You know what?
That's not what we're here to talk about, is it?
No, it's not. But, sometimes you've just got your favorite things, and it's okay to be biased about those things.
It's true.
It's okay to like something just because you like it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so that's the thing. Like, when we do talk about something we don't like, we're not saying you shouldn't like it. And in fact, we disagree here pretty often. I know when we started off on WandaVision, none of us were really quite on the same page on that one. But I'm curious to see what y'all thought. I loved this. I can't wait to see where they're going. I'm a little disappointed it's only 6 episodes, but they are a little bit longer than the episodes we got with WandaVision. But I'm really excited about what they're setting up. But I want to hear what y'all have to say about it, just in general.
I was surprised. There wasn't a lot of action in this episode, just like at the beginning, and then a tiny bit near the end. It was a very, very character focused, which I think is important because I didn't really realize it until now. But up until this point, especially with Winter Soldier, neither of these people really had a character, did they? Especially Winter Soldier. So it's important that we're taking the time to actually give them a personality, a voice. We're learning a lot about them. We learn more about each of these characters in this first episode than we have the rest of their MCU appearances combined.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because the only thing we've seen from them is how they sort of relate and interact just around Cap's orbit, right? We don't get to see the rest of their lives. I mean, you've got Bucky dealing with some severe PTSD, and Sam's got problems at home with his sister and his family's business, and he's been away for 5 years, right? So it is interesting and important, I think, to see how they deal with that stuff. It's a very good setup episode.
Yeah.
Let's give us some background about what's going on in these guys' lives and what it is that's going to thrust them together to do something important. We're setting up the Flag Smashers. We got John Walker introduced as U.S. agent, which I guess they're going to call him Captain America in this one.
It sounds like.
Right.
Which is just gross, but that's obvious. Yeah. That's what they're going for, which is why it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Captain America was a title. I mean, at one point in the books, John Walker did use the title Captain America before Steve came back and became U.S. agent. It's just a title.
It's gross that it's on somebody other than the person that Steve said could have it, is what I'm getting at, which is what they were going for.
Exactly. That's the reaction they want you to have. And then Sam's sitting there with the guilt of the fact that he didn't take up the mantle and he thought he was doing the right thing, giving up the shield, and now someone who's not worthy of it has it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a major plot point.
And it ticks me off. And I was mad at Sam, and I think this was intentional as well. I was mad at Sam at the beginning. I'm like, dude, he gave it to you, and it's almost like a spit in the face to Steve to like not take up the mantle. He doesn't see it that way. I know he doesn't see that way.
No, he doesn't.
But the way I kind of felt watching it was like,
he did
what are you doing?
He did it expecting them to respect it and revere it and treat it with the proper right.
Yeah.
But either way, that's not what Steve wanted.
Right.
Right. And he does. I mean, in his speech, he says, "I'm sorry, Steve, but you know, it can only be you." That's his sentiment. Is I can't replace Captain America. That's where he's at. And Rhodey is kind of the one kind of going, "Are you sure, man? Are you sure this is where you want to go with this?" And I was kind of glad to see that Rhodey was the one there. They really after during Civil War, they made Rhodey one of the most unlikable characters that was part of the main Avengers crew. And I was glad to see him there in a little bit more supportive role of someone. And I'm real curious. I mean, obviously he thought that he was retiring the title, Captain America. And so from that, in that situation, I mean, he did this in good faith that's what was happening. And so now he kind of has been double crossed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like, somebody says, "Oh, you get to wear, the number of the greatest football player of all time," and you say, no, I think it should be retired. They're like, "Okay, let's give it to this other guy instead, who is going to turn out to really suck." Yeah.
Yeah. And
so,
like we were saying before the show, I know we're skipping right to the end, but like,
no, let's go ahead. We're there.
When he walked out on stage, dude, like, I felt gross. Like, I think that's the point. And I felt the same way Sam did. Like, Sam just sitting there, like, he has guilt that he didn't take it. He's like disgusted that someone else is doing this. The costume looks awful. It looks like such a cheap knockoff. It looks goofy, but that's not to say like that it's bad design. Like, I think that's the point. That's stupid. Like, you notice like it's a star and an A at the same time. Like, it's just dumb. And I was like, this is disgusting. I cannot wait to see Sam kick this guy in the face.
Yeah, it's the
we're
arena.
All just assuming we're not going to like him, right?
It's the Arena Football League version of the uniform. It's just bad. It's like you said. I mean, it's not right. It doesn't look right, and I think that we're all kind of in agreement. It's supposed to look like a cheap knockoff.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a caricature of what Captain America should look like,
Right.
And I think that's kind of the idea. Like I said a minute ago, we're all sitting here just assuming we're not going to like the guy, but I think maybe they don't want us to like him. We don't really know yet. We got to see how the season plays out, but that's just kind of the way it feels like it's going. Because, now you've got Sam dealing with, thinking no one else could carry the mantle, and they're going to give it to someone. The only way it plays out with emotional impact is they gave it to someone not worthy of it. Mm-hmm. So now Sam has to decide that he is worthy. Like, maybe that's the story arc we're on, which would be cool to see.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's where I thought it was going, where it's these two characters. That's what I've been saying for a good long while now. It's two characters who were kind of sidekicks. And now, both of them kind of have to rise up and be the lead guy themselves. And So I definitely think this is about them becoming comfortable with who they are.
Right.
Well, I mean, and we know that at some point they take the shield back because it was in the promotional material. It was in the trailers.
Right.
I'm a little surprised actually that given that this is how they started the series, that they used the shield in the promos.
Yeah, I get what you were saying. Like I was just scrolling through Instagram before this and like saw some of the promos again, and there's a lot of stuff. I don't like almost nothing from those promos was actually in this first episode except for like John Walker himself, I guess. But yeah, all the scenes of them like practicing with the shield and stuff. So yeah, we know they're going to get it back, which brings up a lot of questions in itself. Like, are they going to like steal it back? They're like, or are they going to be giving it back because John Walker is like gonna screw up so quickly, and like it's gonna that experiment is gonna fail so quickly and early on in the show that they're like, okay, never mind. Like that might be like a 2 episode thing that's going on there, and then they get it back, and then it's Falcon and Winter Soldier versus the Flag Smashers for the rest of the series.
That's my theory.
I mean, they could steal it back, or like David saying, I mean, we don't quite know what the deal with the leader of the Flag Smashers is yet, but definitely a little superhuman strength going on there. And,
is that, we don't even know if that's the leader.
No, we don't for sure, but, it may be that our new Captain America tries to go take them on and doesn't come out of it so well.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Because he's got a costume, he doesn't have a Captain America serum going on, right?
We don't know anything.
As far as we know, they might have a half baked one.
Like what they used, whatever they wound up using for Bucky.
Yeah, whatever they want to use it for Bucky,
Union
or
fell, they it's just snagged the Soviet version.
Maybe they just made their own. I mean, it's a long-standing thing in Marvel that they've been trying to recreate the Super Soldier Serum forever. There are a million characters in Marvel that that their origin is, well, they were trying to make the Super Soldier Serum, but actually it didn't work out. So now it's like a half as good one as Cap's. So I think that could be the case that they made a new one.
Yeah.
Or he could just be a figurehead. Like I was saying, like he might not even be in the military. He might be like, or if he is, he's just like some private who like they thought looked the part and they pulled him. You remember in the first Avenger, like Captain America, the first Avenger, the guy that Tommy Lee Jones wanted to give the Captain America thing.
Yeah.
That
Right.
he's strong and soldier.
About him. Yeah.
I think that's basically what John Walker is. He's that guy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and it may just be based on stuff we've seen in the trailer with the band playing and him running out onto the football field. He may literally just be what Steve was at the beginning of his involvement in the war. He might literally just be a hype man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those classic things where he's like the hype man, and then something happens.
Go 1,000 different ways.
Yeah,
with
they
it.
could.
Yeah.
And then something happens, and then he has to go out there and fight, and it turns out he's like a total like a chicken, and like
Maybe he's a Hydra agent.
Is he a Hydra agent? I don't think he's going to be a Hydra agent. I think they're probably done with Hydra.
Yeah.
I would love if Hydra showed up again. Like I think that'd be great if like somebody goes Hail Hydra, and it's like if they're still here. Like I think that'd be actually really fun. Almost like a joke. Like, oh my god, they can't get rid of Hydra.
Well, I mean, that's the idea, right? That's how Hydra...
Exactly. I think that'd be hilarious. That reminds me, Baron Zemo. We still don't...
We haven't heard...
We don't know where he plays into this at all.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard his name.
He could be the leader of the Flag Smashers, but that doesn't really line up with what we know about him.
Yeah.
The thing about his name, the book Bucky's got that he needs to make amends. Somebody zoomed in on it, and it says H. Zemo was on the list. What the hell is he need to make amends to H. Zemo for? That would be Helmet Zemo.
Is one of the things he... I mean, because his making amends with that senator was,
Oh yeah, that's right. He had to take care of her. That's true. That might be right. That might be
Good
on his
point.
on his list to go ahead and put a stop to Zemo.
Yeah.
I get the
But
impression
last
that
time we saw him, he was locked up. I get the impression he escapes in this season,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
Or he might have escaped during the chaos of the snap or
true.
the blip. Maybe he was snapped, he got blipped back, and there was chaos, and he was able to escape.
Yeah.
Or maybe just he's been around for the past 5 years, rebuilding himself
Hmm.
to this powerful criminal, and he's has some plans. I have no idea what he's going to do. That's why like the
No.
Flag Smashers thing and the John Walker thing that could be like 2 episodes, and then we move on to Zemo.
It could be. I'm curious to see where they go with it because it is a lot of threads for 6 episodes. And it might be that Zemo just like is kind of a jumping point to something after this show's over. I mean, Zemo could literally show up at the end. He doesn't have to be in there the whole season. It's because, like I said, it's a lot of that. There really is a lot of threads going on for 6 episodes.
He's got to be high on the list of people Bucky hates, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like of all the people, he's the one who like dragged him back into all of the things in his past that he was trying to forget.
Right.
It's bad stuff.
Yeah. So we kind of covered the end of the episode. Let's actually walk back and let's just, for starters, we didn't have a ton of action in this episode, but we do get we open up on a great action scene to kick it off. So what did y'all think about Falcon's action scene at the beginning of the show?
I loved it. I thought it was very creative, actually, as far as, and you really get to see. One of the things I noticed is just sort of that we have several flying characters
Yeah.
in the MCU now, right? But the way Falcon moves is different than all of them. They all move a little differently. They don't really move like Iron Man. He's more graceful than that, right? More fluid. So I thought that was choreographed and done very well. It was fun to watch. We got Batroc the Leaper back.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
And
He's still alive.
He's
He made it
a
out.
fun character, right? So he can be one of those that just pops up every now and then. I thought it was fun getting him back, and at least and they gave him the yellow and black, like his comic book accurate colors. We're never using his suit. It's stupid as hell.
Suit. Yeah.
But no, so they always do a good job with that kind of stuff. And the way Red Wing is used in this one, and you really get a feel for the fact that the origins of Red Wing is that in the books it's a real Falcon,
right?
And that's you kind of get that feel of that in this, the way it moves and is used and kind of acts independently to some degree, I guess.
It's like a droid.
Yeah, like a drone, but
I said droid.
Oh, you said droid? Yeah, more.
Yeah.
That's even better. So I just thought it was really well done. It was fast paced. I love the way Falcon flies. I like the way Red Wing was used. I like the solution to it at the end, the way he just zips through the helicopter and grabs the guy. I enjoyed it. If we're only getting one action scene, that was a good one. That's a good way to kick off the show.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like as far as the pacing, because that was it. I mean, that was most of the action was right there. But, a lot of our Marvel movies have opened up that way. We open up with this big spectacle at the beginning, and then we slow down and move into character development. And then once we're done with that, we'll ramp back up. And so I really think they're kind of following that traditional Marvel model as far as that goes, a little more than, say WandaVision did.
Yeah, I've always said that since we got these shows announced that this is going to be the Marvel one. This is the one that is going to feel like an extended MCU movie.
And really, it's the one that makes the most sense for.
Yeah,
I agree, and it looks just like it, and that's something I can appreciate is that it is filmed and shot and treated like with the same respect a movie would be. They really are taking these shows very seriously. They're putting a lot of effort, a lot of money into them. It's basically going to be like a 6-hour-long movie, and we need that. We need some real character development here. Yeah, I thought the action scene was great, and if we get like an action scene like one every episode or whatever, I think that'd be cool. We'll probably get a couple episodes that don't have much action at all.
Yeah, and I think towards the end it'll be pretty much all
Ramped
action.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like
I love
WandaVision did.
yeah,
Ramp it
I
up as it
love
goes.
that we didn't see Bucky in any action because that's the point. Like he's out of it. He doesn't want that. He's trying to have peace, trying to find peace, live a normal life. It's not going too well for him.
He's trying to figure out what his life's supposed to be. Like he's
Right.
got no idea what his place is in the world. None.
Right. And that was what I want to talk about next is each character separately, because there's not a lot to unpack in this episode because it's just our introduction, our reintroduction to these characters. So just take them one at a time. What did y'all think about the setup for Bucky and where he's at?
That's actually what I'm most interested in.
I
Yeah.
agree, 100%.
I need to see how Bucky, like we kind of saw Steve have to adjust to the 21st century when he came out of hibernation, right? But it was different because he wasn't unpacking 70 years worth of traumatic experiences while he was brainwashed, right? So these are things that obviously he remembers, at least most of it, because he's going back and trying to make amends to the families of, or to the father of a man he remembers killing him, that he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, so you have to deal with the guilt and the consequences of those actions, even though everybody can kind of give you a built-in excuse. You get the impression Bucky doesn't want the excuse. He's trying to own it, but it's hard. And it makes for really good character development. And like I said, he's got to deal with all that and try to figure out how the 21st century works. And because we get the impression about a year of freedom between Winter Soldier and Civil War. And then he had some peace in Wakanda, but he was kind of isolated there. And then the snap happened. So since he's broke free of his mind control, he hasn't actually had to live a life yet.
Right.
And I think it'd be awesome to try to see him figure that out. And he's probably not going to by the end of this series either.
No, but I do
But
hope
he's
to
going to
see
make
him.
great strides towards it, right? He's going
Right.
to come to terms with some stuff. And I think that's going to be fun to watch.
And I think they did a good job. I think that the way he's kind of approaching this is very believable for someone of his generation. You know, it's kind of like that, like he does not want to be in therapy. Like, have you ever known somebody your grandfather's age who like would be caught dead in a therapist chair?
Right.
You know, he's kind of stonewall. He's got that emotional barrier that, you know, I think a lot of was kind of expected culturally at that point. But on the other hand, he's not looking for explanations for why he did what he did. He's looking to kind of pull himself by his bootstraps and not make any excuses. He's not interested. Like, I feel like if that story had been told about someone my age, they would have been, you know, a much more of a Kylo Ren kind of approach where it's like, but this and this and this are all the reasons that I'm this way. And so therefore you should give me a pass. And he really, I feel like, has a very kind of historically accurate approach to things. You know, he's very, you know, kind of doesn't want to talk about them, but not wanting to kind of
he wants to find a way to take he wants to find a way to take responsibility for them somehow.
Yeah, I really liked all of Bucky's stuff. I also enjoy how it's like he can't do anything illegal, no violence, no nothing like that.
right.
That scene was great whenever he like smiled. He was like, "Hi, I'm James Buchanan Barnes," and like he's like smiles at like that was great. And it's like he's right on the edge of just something's gonna, and it's gonna be kind of sad whenever we see him have to start fighting again. It's like, oh, this poor dude just can't get any peace. A question that I've had since Endgame was why didn't Bucky go back with Steve? And I
Yeah.
think it's because of this amends thing. I think he has stuff left to do. I think he Steve has lived his life. He has done his part. Steve could go rest. I
Yeah.
don't think Bucky feels like he can rest yet.
Well, and I think that's kind of the thing with Bucky is, as far as him going back, Steve was so good and so pure that, and we see that. I mean, he lifts the hammer at the end, like, that tells us like who he is. There's no question left of how pure Steve Rogers is, and he's able to go back to that time that's a little bit more pure. And Bucky's
him,
too
at
broken
least,
to go
yeah.
back there. Like, Bucky doesn't necessarily have a place back there anymore.
They also didn't know Steve was going to do that when he left either.
Well,
Bucky
I think
did.
Bucky did.
I think he told Bucky.
Okay.
I get the impression from that entire scene that when Steve shows back up there at the end and he's kind of got the shield and he's the one that's like, I think he had already had a conversation with Bucky of what his intentions for the shield were.
And I bet he asked Bucky to come with him. Like, I bet the offer was there. And I bet that, this is just me, I mean, this is just pure speculation, but I bet that Bucky was like, no, I don't have a place there. I don't have a place here either, but here I could still do some good. There, I have amends to make.
I mean, yeah. And also, I don't think that he would be able to go back to a place where he knows there's another version of himself out there doing these things and just leave it alone. I don't think he wants to live in that world either. Because he
Ooh, that's a good
remembers, he
point.
knows where he is, he knows what he's doing, and he knows he can't go back and stop it. He can't go back and watch all of that happen again.
Right.
I don't think, even as much as he loves Steve, I don't think he could.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
That's
something
I've always-
he can do.
I've always made
have
jokes.
I've never put any thought into this, but I'm liking this theory. I like this idea.
Mhm.
That's all. That's yeah.
I've always made jokes that, like, Steve now knows all these horrible things that can happen, but he can't stop them because they'll alter history. So it's like the day that JFK is assassinated, he just has to sit there, and it's like, and Peggy's like, Steve, did you hear the president got shot? And Steve's like,
See,
oh no.
I think they have an arrangement. I don't think she tells him things.
time
I
travel
think-
always screws with movies and plot lines anyway, right? Because when they went back and wasn't part of the whole idea of how the time travel worked the fact that going back created an alternate timeline, so they had to go back and put the stones back exactly where they were so they wouldn't ruin that timeline. But oh, by the way, if doing that happens, then how the hell did Steve wind up in the future of the timeline he left anyway? Like, what?
Yeah, no, you're right. It made all the timeline, but I'm saying that even still living, like, if he's living in a time, these
even
things
if
are going to
in
be
an
happening.
alternate timeline, presumably all those things are still going to happen.
As big a sci-fi nerd as I am, and there are some time travel movies I love. The first two Terminators, Back to the Futures. There's time travel elements in Star Trek. Every time there's time travel involved, I always have to go, just turn it off. Just turn it off. Don't overthink it. Just let it happen. They're going to screw up their own logic, but you just got to sit back and enjoy it.
Well, conceivably, Steve could have, if he did create a divergent timeline, right, that branch that Dr. Brown talks about, conceivably he just jumped over just to hand off the shield and then goes back.
I think Kevin Feige said that.
Marisha already turned that time travel switch in my head.
But I think
you missed that part. Like, I don't think about it.
It was either a screenwriter or it was Kevin Feige himself who said, like, what happened is it created another timeline. He jumped back, gave Sam the shield, and then went back to the timeline where he was with Peggy. Mm-hmm. Steve is not hanging out.
We never established the fact they could. Well, I guess we did.
I'm just saying what Kevin said, man.
Because they're trying to explain themselves out of a plot hole.
Because who cares? Who cares?
While we're speculating.
What?
While we're speculating, what if Steve actually offered the shield to Bucky? and Bucky wouldn't take it because he feels like he's too damaged.
I think that as far as
I
all
don't
of
even
that
think
goes,
that's going to come up. Yeah.
I think it
think-
might come up.
I think as far as all of that goes, I do think it's possible that it could come up, but I think that it would be really interesting. I mean, there's been some rumors about Captain America showing up in this. I mean, it's all rumor and all speculation, and we got shot down all over the place on WandaVision with that kind of stuff. As far as just the fandom in general, I mean, it was,
Yeah,
so wild. So as far as speculation, but it is possible that we could see that conversation happen.
Yeah,
Flashback or something.
flashback
We're seeing
or
lots of dreams.
I could see it come up if just like maybe Bucky and Falcon are arguing, and like that comes up. I don't know.
I don't think they're going. I don't think they'll do that anyway. I don't think they'll make. I don't think they'll make that be a plot point to the story. I really don't. I don't think they want to tarnish the idea that Cap would have picked somebody besides Sam.
That's true. That would
They're
would
not
kind of
going to do that.
No, I don't think so either.
That would make Sam even more like, well, then yeah, I don't deserve it. I was second choice. Like that sucks, and that kind of does ruin like the. You're right. That kind of does ruin the feeling we now have about Sam, of Steve chose you. Well, what if he actually didn't? That would kind of suck.
Yeah, that's not going to be a thing.
I bet though he still just had a conversation with Bucky about giving Falcon the shield, but yeah, I don't know if it'll come up. I really don't know. Let's talk about Falcon because we've been going on about Bucky.
Yeah, we've been on Bucky for a while, and I agree that I think that Bucky's line is where they're going with Bucky. Bucky's story is a little more interesting at this point, just because of what he has to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we have to let Marisha go first this time.
But the other one we do, of course, need to talk about the Falcon. So, how are you feeling about where they're headed with his story?
I mean, as much of it is taking place in South Louisiana, I'm here for it.
How
That's
hard?
why she had to go first. Show some no love.
How hard do you think? I mean, because the character's originally from Harlem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, how hard do you think Anthony Mackie pushed for this character to be from
New Orleans? I think that was definitely a factor. And honestly, anybody else think it's like kind of nice for a superhero to be from not New York?
That's true.
Like, hello everyone, New York is not the only city in the entire
But that's
country.
that's where most of these Marvel characters end up being from, because in the early days of Marvel Comics, they were very New York centric.
Right.
I mean, that was every character was created to be from New York, because Stan would literally look out his window and get inspired by the city.
But New Orleans is cooler than New York.
I guess.
And now they can run into Gambit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Channing Tatum can show up. It's still coming. Like, no, it's getting made. Yeah, we're working on it. We're in pre-production.
It's going to be funny as hell if that becomes a Deadpool thing and we accidentally get a Gambit test footage leak.
That would be great. That would be great.
Can't wait.
But no, I enjoy. I mean, I was excited the LSU flag on the wall back there. Oh, and I think my favorite line in the whole movie was, "You look familiar. Did you play for LSU?" I was like, okay, someone clearly did their homework and actually spent a few days, like, just showing up with celebrities at random places, around New Orleans, and be like, "Did you play for LSU, man?" Like, athletic,
People really do not realize LSU. It is a great line. I know exactly where Marisha is coming from, because LSU is bigger than anything professional. I was outside today watching college baseball. I will watch every college LSU baseball game I can catch. Mm-hmm. I'm also a Red Sox fan. I won't watch nearly as much Major League Baseball as I do college. I'm being serious. This is the only part of the country that's like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go anywhere else and have anybody probably even tell you the local college's baseball record. Mm-hmm. But LSU is just different.
Yep.
So
LSU
it is a great reference. Everything in the state, somebody is going to mention LSU in a situation like the one they brought up. It was
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, personally, during football season, I hope LSU loses because I get so tired of hearing people nya about it. Because I really am not an LSU fan, but it is such a huge part of, like,
It's
just
part of the culture.
It's part of the culture. It's just part, you, like, can't have a conversation, between October and January without LSU football coming up. So yeah, I got a big kick out of that reference. I also want to hear all the. I'm excited to hear all the people from not South Louisiana try and pronounce.
Delacroix.
Yeah, Delacroix. Yeah,
Delacroix. Yeah. No, I got a real kick out of it too. I had no idea that was like, I don't know if that was a thing that we knew about before this episode, but I certainly didn't. So I got a real kick out of it when I saw him driving on that bridge, and you see the all the swamp around him and stuff, and I think that was really cool. I like that his family's business is like rooted in the fishing. I guess the thing is, even though it's in South Louisiana, I just couldn't make myself give a single crap about that boat. Like, I get what they were going for. I really do. But, like, the problem is, like, we didn't know anything about Falcon until right now. And so all of a sudden I'm supposed to, like, care about all this. And I just couldn't.
Well, no,
I just couldn't bring myself to.
You're supposed to care that he's struggling to keep his family's business and his family's house, and help take care of his sister and his nephews that they have some real life struggles. That's what you're supposed to care about.
And that's the thing I think that's what they're really striving for here, is to make you care a little more about these characters.
Well,
because with some of our big characters now gone, these guys have got to step up and fill those shoes. And so, you need to care a little bit more about them. You need to know a little bit more about who they are. And I mean, I think it's interesting bringing in these real life struggles. You don't think about, we've been watching the MCU for over 10 years now, and you go, oh my gosh, like, you're right. Like, they don't get paid for doing this. This is all like goodwill stuff. Like,
I think we all assumed Tony did it because Tony said he paid for everything, but I guess we just assumed he gave everybody like a stipend.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they were living. A lot of them were living in the Avengers facility. So
Falcon says, a lot of people are thankful, so they would give money. So they were taking donations, but at the same time, I guess maybe Tony was just paying for the equipment, and they were just trying to live off donations.
I mean, he's paying for living expenses, but that doesn't look real great on your tax returns when you're, trying to apply for a loan. And honestly, I think that really the only reason for that boat being a thing is so that you can see him get rejected for a loan. Like, literally, the man was part of saving the world. And we're like, so sorry, sir, we can't give you this measly loan to pay for your little house.
And then part of their reason was like, you don't have any income over the last 5 years.
Right. And so you think about that, that's like half of the people. Like, suddenly it's like, so half of the people in the country have no ability to finance anything.
And that is exactly how it would go.
This is exactly how it would go.
Anybody ever worked with the bank? That's exactly how that song and dance would go.
Yeah. And then the guy has the audacity to ask for a selfie, and Falcon. That was the only. Okay, so I have a confession. There were a lot of parts of this episode where I didn't find Sam very likable at a couple moments. That was one of the moments where the guy was 100% on his side. I thought he was hilarious. I think it's funny that he like did the wings things, like, because he's into it. He likes being Falcon, and I think that's really fun and interesting. Like, that he's all about that superhero life. He's like, yeah, I'm a superhero. I'm the Falcon. It's goofy. I have a bird named Redwing. I fly, and like, he did that. That was hilarious to me, and I really liked that. And then he was like, "Are you serious?" Like, whenever they asked him for a selfie, I think that was great. Other than that, there was just a couple moments in the. I guess because I was upset at him for giving up the shield, and then just the way he talked to people sometimes just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. It's just a small thing. I mean, the shield thing, I think that was intentional. I think you're supposed to be upset at him a little bit for giving up the shield, but...
Well, I think he's supposed to be understanding about not feeling worthy of it either, though.
True.
Yeah, he is kind of discounting his sister's experience. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the
kind
moments.
of just sort of like, okay, but I still get to make this call.
Yeah, but we've all got family. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've been through. I've got a first cousin, Andrew and David know exactly who I'm talking about. I love like a sister. We bump heads over family legacy stuff. Like, it happens. That is also that's real world.
That's true.
It is.
Sell the house? Are we going to keep the house? Or are we going to?
Well, and I'll tell you, like working in real estate, there's nothing divides a family like property.
Yeah.
But it's also, but you also, it is refreshing at least that it's not the monetary value of the property that they're clashing over.
It's the legacy.
The legacy of it, the significance of keeping it in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
that's real world stuff.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see where they're going with both of these characters. I think it's they're both struggling with some of the same things from a little bit different point of, a little bit different perspective, but they've got a lot of the same struggles going on, and so I'm really curious to see where they're going. And just a few little things to kind of hit on before we leave. Did we meet the next Falcon?
Oh, the military guy.
Yeah.
Well,
doesn't he take up
the next Falcon?
But doesn't he take up the mantle? Doesn't that character take up that mantle in the comics?
I don't
I
know.
gotta actually research that one because
I've never read a Falcon comic book until he became Captain America. But
if it happened, I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll have to check
show,
up on that. I may be totally off.
I think he was fine. I think he was
should have
likable.
prepared me for that one.
I think he was likable enough. If we see more of him, then by the end of the show, I might be like, yeah, he's great. Let him be the next Falcon.
So wait a minute. Do we really think that what we're going towards here is Anthony Mackie in the red, white, and blue with the shield, calling himself Captain America, and another character, possibly Torres, wearing the wings and calling himself Falcon? Is that where we think we're going?
I don't know. I also know that at one point, when we're first introduced to Falcon, he talks about how he was part of a team that did this. Right. There's no reason we can't have someone else wearing the gear.
No.
Yeah, but I feel like as Captain America, he would still wear the gear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of
He
weird.
did in the comics.
But is he Captain? If he's still wearing the Falcon gear, it doesn't matter if he's still wearing the Falcon gear. But he's not going to call himself Captain America the Falcon.
No. I
think at the end of the show, he will be calling himself Captain America.
I think so too. I think that's where this is headed. So I think
I'm okay with that too. I'm just asking the question.
No, I don't think that you see. I don't think you necessarily see him out of the gear.
Right.
But I do think that it's possible that
not.
you're going to put someone else in it, or at least something similar.
He could be his new wingman.
He could be the new. He could be the new
wingman.
Okay, now when we first meet him, he tells Steve that his wingman died. Right? He was running like a therapy group for combat veterans.
Yeah, right.
Marissa just runs right through her own puns, like she didn't even realize what she did.
Wing.
I know. Wing, yes, flies like a bird. I'm aware. I didn't think it was that clever.
Okay.
I thought it was clever. My dearest friends, my computer is about to die, and my charger is way over there.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, we can wrap it up. So I'm really excited to see where this is going. Has everybody else? I assume everybody else is kind of in the same boat. Everybody's excited to see where it's going.
Yeah. Not as good as this overall. I don't think this episode was as good as any episode of WandaVision, though.
It took me. But y'all already know it took me 3 episodes to get into WandaVision. This one I'm invested in already.
I think this was
So-
I think this was a better first episode than WandaVision.
I do
had.
too.
Oh, I loved
Absolutely.
it. don't
I
agree.
disagree, but I think it's because WandaVision was so different, and this is so what we're used to. I like what we're used to. I like pizza. I like pepperoni pizza. Pepperoni pizza is delicious. I eat it all the time. But if you give me a pepperoni pizza with some banana peppers on it, well then that little bit of extra spice is what I'm going to be into.
Oh, look. Backyard Turd
Yeah.
has put in the chat and we didn't even see him.
Sorry, Nick.
Hi,
I wasn't paying attention. Didn't see you in the chat. But yeah, Nick says no. He's Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon. Please do not call me that. Please don't do that.
All right, guys. Well, before David loses power here, I guess we're gonna cut out. But Marisha, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at princesses_and_padawans and IMP Padawans on Twitter.
All right, David.
Real quick, actually, instead of Captain Falcon, it should be Falcon America. You guys, yeah, you guys can find me, which is funny because like he should just be Eagle. That's it. He's Eagle.
Eagle. Hey, I like
Eagle.
that.
Anyway,
Eagle has landed.
I'm surprised they haven't done that. So,
Y'all, his
You
mama
guys-
raised him.
you
Go
guys can
ahead,
find
son.
me. You guys can find me on Twitter at David_JG Peoples.
All right, Daniel.
And I am Dan C. Peeps on Twitter.
All right, you can find me running the Twitter account for this show at @Sci_Fictionary. And you can check out our podcast as well as the rest of the Red 5 podcast family at red5network.com or at Red 5 Network on Twitter. And until next time, may the force be with you.
Oh, look. He had all the good things to say. He
Oh,
missed it.
Yeah, Nick had a lot of
Y'all
good things to
watching the
say. We'll
chat?
have to touch on.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I failed to
next
watch the
episode-
chat.